YouTube here on the right. Guys, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late today. It's been a little bit tricky and a little bit busy. Got a lot of different things going on, so I'm about 10 minutes late. I do apologize. And also, guys, I couldn't do the live stream yesterday because I had some other stuff to deal with. So, but typically, guys, I'm going to be doing these live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And so this is kind of an anomaly, but I'll be back on tomorrow. So, and guys, if I can't see you on Facebook, I'm sorry. The screen is pointed away from me. So I can't see you, but it's so you can see the board. So if I don't respond to your comments, it's nothing personal. All right, guys, so let's get into it. I'm really excited today. Today, this video, we're going to go into how to master your relationships, the way that you relate to people with two specific techniques. Guys, in anything in life, there's times where we need to be just an open vessel. We need to be completely there with the person. We need to be completely open with them. And also that, hey, Moonlight, good to see you. How are you? What's your real name? There's times we need to be totally open and present with that person. And then there's other times where we just need to be a mirror, and we need to relate back to them the projections that they're showing us. Have you guys ever had anybody project on you? It can be a really interesting experience, and it can really throw you up in your mind, and you say, is this my issue? Am I projecting, or is this other person projecting? Sometimes we're so self-aware that we can question ourselves. But what this video is all about is we're going to go deep into how to handle relationship situations. And there's two techniques that I'm going to talk about today that are incredibly crucial that we can use to better our relationships, to better our relationship with ourselves, but also to better our relationship with the people in our life. So let's get fully into it. I'm excited. All right, so this video is all about relationships. Boom, relationships. And guys, when it comes to relationships, okay, look, this is all life ever is. So you're going to see a lot of my videos are going to hit up on this topic of relationships. Now, typically, most people, when they hear the word relationship, they think romantic, right? Romantic relationships. All of life is relationship. Whether you're running a business, you have a relationship with your clients and customers. Whether you're in a friendship, you have a relationship with them. You have a relationship with food. You have a relationship with your car, with your community. All of life is relationship. So guys, if you can master relationship, hey Beth, so good to see you. I'm glad you finally made it to a live stream. If you can master relationships, guys, you will be able to master your ability at handling life, because that's all it comes down to. Everything is relationship. What's your relationship to your food? What's your relationship to your community, your clients, your customers? What is your relationships? So there's some key questions that we want to ask ourselves when it comes to understanding how to have an effective, balanced relationship. So, hey, Maria, good to see you. All right, so cool. Let's get into it. So, first of all, when it comes to relationships, there's two things. There's two techniques that we're going to talk about today specifically. The first one is the window technique. Okay. So window, and then the second one is called mirror technique. Okay, and so you know what? Actually, I'm gonna move this one over a little bit. So the window technique, both of these techniques are techniques that we use when it comes to relating to someone. Okay, so there's times in life where we're asked to act more like a window, where we need to be open. We need to be self-reflective. We need to allow that person to fully see into us. We need to be completely transparent, which means being honest and means being authentic, okay? So there's these times where we want to be a window, but then there's these other times where we want to be a mirror, okay? And the mirror technique is usually used when people project onto us. Have you guys had the experience of being projected onto? It can be really debilitating. It can be confusing. And you question yourself, you know. So there's been a lot of times where I've been in a relationship where I was receiving a lot of projections, and I was like, am I getting these projections? Or are these my projections that I'm projecting onto another person? And it just creates a whole lot of headache. Well, you don't have to do that. It's not necessary, okay? So the key thing to realize here is there's times in life where we want to act like a mirror and where we want to act like a window. And guys, if this video is helping you out, please share it with any family or friends. I want to get that stuff out there. Boom. So when you're a mirror, when you act like a mirror, you want to be like a mirror when, people are projecting onto you. So projection. Okay. So there's times in your life, in your romantic life, in your business life, whatever it is, where people will project their own issues onto you. And if you have a stable and very confident sense of self, which is an ever-going process because we can get pulled out of ourselves sometime and sucked into the world or another person's energy. But there's going to be times where people will project onto you. And if you're not in that solid, stable state within yourself, then you're going to be pulled out. You're going to be pulled out and you're going to think to yourself, okay, I'm being projected onto. But if you're pulled out of yourself in that energetic state, you're not going to be able to identify or know if you're being projected to. Okay. So this is the first key thing here. When it comes to projection, all it is, and you guys, I'm sure have heard this before. It's just people projecting their issues or problems onto you. And guys, I'm still guilty of this at times. Okay. I've done this with people, with clients and relationships. I've done it before. No one is perfect. There's times where we are pulled out of ourselves, no matter how advanced we may be or how far along we think we are. I still do projections sometimes. But that's why it's important to have people around you who are willing to be honest and say, hey man, I think this is your own shit coming to the surface. That's where having healthy, honest, authentic relationships really comes into handy. When you have healthy, authentic, honest relationships, you save yourself from your own projection. You start projecting that other person will say, nope, look, man, I love you and I care for you, but right now you're projecting onto me, okay? And then that'll hit and that'll land home. So when it comes to creating good relationships, you want to have friends, family, or support systems who are willing to see your projections and who will be willing to share those projections with you. Okay, so that's a real key here. Hey, Rhonda, thanks for joining. Good to see you. All right, so projection. Now, what's the window? Where does the window come in? The window comes in here with transparency. Okay, transparency. So transparency has to do with the ability for people to see within us, the ability for people to see straight through us. And guys, here's the thing: being transparent can be really hard because it's a very vulnerable state. And when we're in that naturally, we like to feel safe. And if we're vulnerable, a lot of times we don't always feel safe when we're vulnerable, right? But guys, being transparent and being open and being willing to show or share your mistakes, this is an unbelievable strength. The willingness to be wrong, because the more willing you are to be wrong, the more you're going to get things right. You're going to get to mistakes and failures are inevitable, guys. I'm going to share that with you right now. When it comes to relationships, romantic relationships, business, whatever it is, mistakes and failures are going to happen. It's how we grow. It's a natural part of the growing process is making mistakes. However, the more transparent you are, the quicker those mistakes are going to be taken care of. Okay. A lot of times we don't like to say that we make mistakes. It's like, well, I want to be looked at as a stable and competent person. So if I make a lot of mistakes, then that doesn't look good on me. When you're transparent and you say, you know what, I fudged, I messed up, and you're open, people will say, wow, that person's open. They're willing to make mistakes, and you're going to be able to see what mistakes you make. And so you're going to be on the path to success much quicker because you're open. You're saying, okay, I've made this mistake. I screwed this up, but I'm open to learning. And so you're going to get to success and where you want to be much quicker if you can be transparent. Okay. So this comes for yourself. So you need to be transparent with the world as much as you can, and you need to be transparent with yourself. And granted, there's sometimes where we get caught up in the world where we're trying to do things too quickly, where it goes the opposite way. However, the more transparent we are with ourselves and we surround ourselves with people who are willing to call us out on our projections, then the quicker we're going to actually get to success. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining. It's good to see you. So now this we've talked about the self, right? So these all apply to the self right now. Okay. Now, how can we apply this? How can we apply this whole model to the other? How can we apply this model to the other or to another person, right? Hey, Facebook, I hope you guys are joining. I'm sorry I can't say hi to you right now because I can't see you. I'm going to bring you up on my desktop here so I'll be able to see who's joining and who's not. And guys, if you're liking this information and it's helping you, please share with any family or friends. I want this stuff to get out to the world. This is what needs to get out there. It's all about relationship, right? Relationship is key. So now when it comes to dealing with other people, how does this window technique and the mirror technique, how does that actually apply? So we're going to get into this a little bit more. So when it comes to transparency, there's going to be times in life where you want to be transparent with other people, okay? You want to be transparent and completely open with them. Because guys, this is how life works. We're relational beings, right? And I'm going to turn this camera a little bit more here. Thanks for being patient, Facebook. We're relational beings. And what happens is when you interact with another person, you're going to take on their energy state a lot of the times. Whatever that person is bringing to the table, you will mimic. Okay. So for instance, if a person is, are you ever around people that are really closed off and blocked off to life? Well, what happens to you? You feel really closed off to them. We become who we hang around, right? So when it comes to this issue right here, when you want to be transparent, there's times where you want to be completely open and transparent with other individuals. And that allows them to be open and transparent, right? So some people in my own work, in my sessions, they come to me and they're completely closed off. They don't feel safe. They've never felt safe in their life, and they're very, very vulnerable. And so what happens is they're closed off. They don't want to be transparent. They don't want to be seen. Now, everyone has a deep internal desire to be truly seen and to be heard and felt. That's what makes us feel connected. But we have issues, traumas, things that occur in our life where we don't feel safe, so we don't open up and we're not transparent. So in this instance, right, there's times where when a person comes to you and they're closed off, right? Let's say a person comes to you and they're closed off. What's the best way to open up a person who's closed off? And this can apply to anything, guys. This can apply to clients. This can apply to a relationship that you're desiring, maybe a friendship, maybe a relationship with a parent or a family member. But we all know people who are more closed off to life. What's the quickest way to get them to open? It's not saying, hey, you're closed off, or saying the truth to them. The quickest, that might be the truth. However, there's times, guys, where saying the truth doesn't serve a person, and where there's being and living the truth serves the person. So in this instance, okay, hey, Mackie, good to see you. Exactly. So Mackie says, show Makaya. I hope I'm saying that right. Is it Makaya? I'm just going to say Makaya. So Makaya is saying, show your authentic self. That's exactly it. Show your true authentic self in that situation. If they're closed off and you're this open person, then they're going to want to be around you because you're so open. So if they're closed off, your openness, your spaciousness, your presence, your transparency, or being like a window, they're going to see deeper into you. And the more you allow people to see deeper into you, the more honest and authentic you are, the more they're going to be able to see into themselves. They'll be relatable. So for instance, I'm going to give you a perfect example of this, okay? So, hey, Ren, good to see you. All right, so I'm going to go into this a little bit more. Sorry, guys, I was reading some comments. So let's say a person comes up to you and there's, we all have these unconscious agreements at work, right? So I'll give you a little example. So let's say you go to work and, there's just this unsaid rule about not eating this type of particular food in the back room, where it's like, nope, that's the boss's food. Like, no one eats that food. Like, you just stay away from that food out of the fridge. This isn't the best example, but this is what's coming up. But then one day you pick at that food and you're like, wow, the boss has like the best food. This is great. And then you see another employee walk into the room and they're like, they're looking around and you're looking at them and they can see they're kind of hovering around, but they're not doing anything. and you just have this feeling that they pick at the boss's food as well. And then you say, hey, do you pick at the boss's food? And they give you that weird look. And then you say, don't worry, I pick at the boss's food too. And then what happens? They open up. They're like, oh yeah, I love the boss's food. I eat it as well. This is a weird metaphor, but it's what we're going to go with, right? What happened there is your transparency and your willingness to be open with them opened them up. And what did that do? That allowed you to relate, okay? That's the key word here. That's when it comes to relationships, that's what it's all about, right? It's all about relating, okay? So the more, when it comes to relation, if you want to have good relations in life, then you need to be relatable. And how do you make yourself relatable? You make yourself a window. You make yourself transparent. You make yourself open. And so if you have these people in your life who you feel are closed off and who aren't open to you, then one of the best things that you can do is just be open, act like a window, and be completely transparent. And when you're transparent, then you'll see that they feel comfortable opening up to you. And guys, this is what if you're a therapist, if you're a coach, if you're dealing in the human services industry, this is the best thing that you can teach people. Hands down, the best thing that you can teach them. If you're willing to be transparent, if you're willing to be open, okay, then people will flock to you, and they'll want to be open and transparent with you as well because they can relate to you. All humans seek connection, okay? All humans. I don't care if you are Santa Claus and you only come out to connect with the world once a year. Every single human wants to connect with other humans. It's in our DNA. It's how we've been hardwired. It's primitive, right? It's at the reptilian part of our brain. Connection. Creating authentic connection with people is what helps other individuals. And that's what's going to make you relatable. Creating authentic connection with other people. So and the way we do that is being transparent. Okay? Being transparent, being open. Hey, I got this strength. I'm really good at this, man. I love this. I'm good at this. And then also saying, hey, I'm really having a hard time here. I'm struggling. It's hard at times. There's a lot of issues. The more relatable and transparent you are, the more people will connect with you and will want to connect with you. And guys, if you're running a business of any type, that's going to help your customers. You know, the more relatable you are to your customers or your clients, whatever it is that you're doing, the more comfortable you can make them feel. Guys, every human wants to feel safe, okay? And that's what this does. When you use the window technique, okay, when you use the window technique and you're totally just open with people, you make them feel safe. They feel safe to express themselves to you. They feel safe to share with you what's really scary for them. They feel safe to share with you what's really going on in their life. You know, there's been so many times in my own life where I didn't feel safe around certain individuals. So what did I do? I naturally closed up. But those individuals who are open, who are loving, who are honest, who are authentic, what happens? We feel safe around them and we get pulled to them. We naturally gravitate to them. So whether it's running a business or whether it's being in a relationship with your wife or your husband or spouse, the more you can make people feel safe, the better relationships that you will have, okay? People want that. They'll do anything for that connection. That connection is absolutely key. Hey, Samarina, thanks for joining. So Rhonda says, open yourself up, be transparent. Samarina says, I have that wanting to be seen, heard, yet afraid and unsafe. So that's a great question. So thanks for sharing that, Samarina. So here's where the misconception comes in. And it's not really a misconception. It's just something that can be really incredibly confusing. Sometimes we can feel like we're not safe enough. Sometimes we can feel like, you know, we're worried, we're anxious on the outside, but at the same time, we're craving an incredible amount of connection. And like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It goes both ways. It's scary to open yourself up. It's scary to be vulnerable, right? It's not an easy thing to do. A lot of people in the West, they have trouble opening themselves up fully. We're a very individualized culture. but that's created a lot of pain and suffering. It's one of the reasons why 55% of our US population is on some form of antidepressant or medication, because we're closed off from each other. We're more connected when we're transparent. So Samarina is saying that she has this simultaneous feeling where she knows that she wants that deep, authentic connection. And Samarina, just thank you for being open and honest and really sharing yourself here. I really appreciate that. I know that's not an easy thing, so I want to validate that. So when it comes to sharing yourself, it can be scary. We feel vulnerable. We feel open. It's a really scary, anxious place to be. However, it's what every human secretly craves the most, is that authentic connection and relationship. So it's not a surprise that you're feeling that way, Samarina. It's completely normal. It's completely natural to feel like you want to open up and connect with others, but at the same time, to feel very scared about doing that. It's a totally natural feeling. Guys, there's times where I feel that way, okay? I'm a pretty open person, but there's times where I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to share with people like my struggles right now, but I still do. Like one of the struggles, I still work through some of my own combat issues around fear and losing people, fear of failure, because I couldn't fail when I was in the Marine Corps, because if I failed in combat, that meant people would die. So one of my own insecurities that I have around this is fear of failure. And that's sometimes scary for me to say. So Samarina, just know that you're not alone, okay? To have that duplicitous feeling of feeling like, okay, you want to have authentic connection and you really crave that, which is primal and it's every human's need, but at the same time, being scared to take the actions that will actually allow you to do that, that's completely normal and understandable. So thank you for sharing that and bringing that up. That's a great question. Hey, Joe Law, good to see you. Joe Law says, I start feeling nervous and start shaking a little bit when I start talking in a group and everyone looks at me. Yeah, so guys, it can be scary to connect, okay? I don't know why. Like public speaking, I think the statistic in public speaking is like 80% of people would rather die than have to public speak, all right? But here's the key thing, guys. I'll give you the best tip for being a successful public speaker or being a successful speaker in any type of group situation. Stop focusing on yourself, right? What happens, guys, that's the thing. When we're focused on ourselves and how we're coming across, that's when we start getting nervous and anxious. Guys, I'm not focused on myself up here at all. When I'm talking in these talks and doing this whole thing right here, I'm not thinking about me. There's no me here. I'm thinking about you guys. I'm thinking about Maria. I'm thinking about Samarina. I'm thinking about Jenny. I'm thinking about Nicole. I'm thinking about all of you guys. My mindset isn't going to how I'm performing or how I'm coming across. Maybe 5% of my brain is thinking about that in the background. 95% is focused on you. And that's where it should be. That's what it means to be in relation, okay? And this is what we think. And I'll go back into this, and I'm going to erase this and bring this down, and we'll go into this whole concept a little bit deeper. But guys, when you're focused not on yourself, but you're focused on others, all the anxiety and worry disappears. End game. It's the most brilliant. All it takes is a reorientation. It's a shift, a new shift in focus. When you can focus on everyone else and not yourself in any public situation, all your anxiety will disappear just like that, because you're no longer focused on the self. You're no longer focused on yourself. You're actually focused on the other. And when you're focused on the other, you can't be focused on your own anxiety, your own worries, or your own insecurities, right? It's normal to have insecurities. I still have insecurities that come up. It's completely normal. It's just a natural part of life. Just don't focus on them. Focus on the other people. Focus how you can give value to others. Focus on how you can really help other people. Hey, good to see you, Anna. Thanks for joining. So I hope this makes sense. You just focus on the other person and you're not going to have this issue. And guys, I'm going to get it back into this mirror a little bit more, but I want to answer a great question that Maria is bringing up here. Thanks for asking that question, Maria. And that's exactly what's going to bring me into the mirror technique. Okay. So Maria is asking a great question. She says, what if people take advantage of such a vulnerability and of being so open? So this is great. And this is where the mirror technique comes in, Maria, because some people, they will. They'll not look at you as being like, oh, wow, this person's so open. That's great. I want to be more open too. They'll look at you and you'll say, how can I take advantage of this? Oh, this person's real open. How can I take advantage of them? If that's the case, this is where you need to be a mirror. All right. This is where you need to mirror back to that person the behavior that they're showing to you. Okay. So there's time. So, and I'm going to erase projection now because we don't actually need this anymore. So if you have a time where people are wanting to take advantage of you, right? And they're saying, okay, you know what? This person's totally open. How can I get in there? They're vulnerable. Well, that's where you need to mirror back to them their own actions, okay? So I'll give you an instance of this. I had this one friend, and this really happens a lot in narcissist and empath dynamics. I had this one friend who was a total narcissist. I just didn't appreciate who he was, okay? But I didn't have enough confidence or self-understanding or depth within myself to be able to share that with him. I didn't even know it. Anyway, what he would do was he would do all these manipulative tactics to me, and I would just let it go. I would just say, well, you know, he doesn't know any other way of being. That's the only way he knows how to interact in the world. That's the only way he knows how to do things. So I'll just let it go. I'll be compassionate towards him. And what I came to learn was I was in so much pain eventually by letting him go and act that way and treat me that way. It was creating so much pain into me where I got angry. I got resentful. I started to hate them. And so this is where you need to mirror back their actions to them. So guys, if you feel like a person's being too forceful and they're trying to push themselves to you, then be forceful right back. There's no problem with that. If a person is trying to push, right? They're trying to push themselves onto you, right? So here, you know what? I'm going to erase this. I'm going to draw a nice little arrow. So here's them, okay? And they got a happy face, a smug face. So this is the other person. Let's say that they try to push themselves onto you, right? And you're here. And you're all happy and smiling because you're open. So this is you. This is the self. So let's say they try to push themselves onto you. What's going to happen if you don't push back? You're going to fall backwards. You're going to get pushed back. So just like when a bully comes and pushes you, what do you have to do? You have to be a mirror. Bully them right the fuck back. Okay? And don't be apologetic about that. Bully them right the fuck back. Push right back. Okay? Push right back. If you don't push right back, what's going to happen is they're going to push you over and you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel upset. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel resentful and they're going to feel happy. They're going to feel proud. They're going to say, haha, I got all the power. Push the fuck back. There's nothing wrong with this. Guys, I think a lot in the spiritual community or in the awakening communities, we have these bullshit beliefs where you can't stick up for yourself. You absolutely can stick up for yourself. And actually, sticking up for yourself is being most loving. Sticking up for you, but also that when you stick up for yourself, guys, you're being most loving to yourself, but you're also being most loving to that other person. Why? Because that person needs to learn that they can't act like that. That's not okay. You can't push people. It's not okay to push people, right? There's nothing wrong with pushing your agenda on someone, but also giving the freedom to make that choice. But if a person is trying to control you, and you're open and they're saying, oh, I can manipulate this person or I can really take them on a run, well, then you need to push right back. And that's where you need to mirror their actions, right? Because, guys, there were times in my life, okay? There were times in my life where people would push me like this, and I would just be a window. I would be transparent. And I would say, oh, well, they just don't know any better. I'm just going to be a window. I'm just going to take it all on. It's okay. And I didn't share how I was really feeling on the inside. And so they would push me over. And that would create anger and resentment, right? It would create anger and resentment within me. So, guys, we want to always be a window, but also a mirror. We need to learn when to be which, because sometimes we need to be open. Sometimes that person who's really harsh and forceful and closed off, you need to be a window for them so they open up to you. However, if you become a window and you open up to them and they're just still really, really harsh with you, well, then what do you need to do? You need to be a mirror and you need to push back at them. And what that'll do? That'll make them check themselves. Whoa, wait. I can't believe this. I must be doing something wrong here. Or they'll just go the other way. So Maria, I hope that answers your question. Does that make sense? I hope this makes sense about being a window and being a mirror. Stick up for yourself. If people are pushing you over, then be that mirror. Don't take that shit. It's not okay. But at the other times, sometimes you come across closed people, and the reason why they're closed off is just because they're scared and they don't feel comfortable being vulnerable. And with those people, you just want to be a transparent window. And guys, when it comes to mastering relationships, right? When it comes to really mastering this whole relationship process, that's what it comes to learning when to be a window and when to be a mirror, and knowing when to do that. Because it's not simple. It's not just a simple one answer. It's learning, okay, now I need to be a window. Okay, now I need to be a mirror, and knowing when to do that. So guys, I hope this helps. I hope this makes sense for you. This is just breaking it down Barney style. Learning to when to be a window and when to be a mirror. And Facebook, if you're commenting and you're sharing, I apologize. I can't respond back right now. Looks like Julie's here. Looks like Nicole's here. Thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I can't. It looks like Anton's here. So guys, I hope this is making sense, right? Is this making sense? Please, if there's any, guys, if you got questions, start throwing them up because I'll start answering them, because this can get a little confusing. There is, like in anything else in life, there's a gray area, and it can be hard to navigate that space. It can be hard to navigate, okay, when do I need to be a mirror and when do I need to be a window, and the best times to do that. So Ren says, what if it's your significant other and they don't grasp the perception of time as you? Mine is a Pisces and super sensitive. Okay, well, that's a great question, Ren. Thank you. My last relationship was with a Pisces, and they were super sensitive as well. What exactly is your question, though? You're saying, and they don't grasp the perception of time as you? I'm not sure what that means. So you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific with me, Ren, so I can help you out here. Anna says, hey, thanks for joining, Anna. Anna says, how to mirror can you give us an example, like a sister example of how to mirror? Okay, well, so first, how to mirror. There's first this, there's this right here. Okay, how to mirror the bullying. If a person bullies you, well, then bully them back, because they're not going to stop bullying you. They're just going to keep messing with you. Lay down the law and say, hey, like, that's not okay. You can't do that. And if they continue to bully them, then bully you back. It's called escalation of force. And the military, guys, we call this EOF, escalation of force. So let's say you have this problem of bullying, maybe at work, maybe at, maybe something's going on. So I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say you're at work and someone's spreading really bad rumors about you, right? And you get wind that they're spreading bad rumors about you. So you want to go up to them and you want to say, hey, why are you spreading rumors about me? None of that is true. That's not okay. What's really going on there? And let's say that person just continually lies and they say, oh, no, I'm not spreading rumors, but you know that they're spreading rumors. Other people are saying about it. Other people are coming in. They're saying, this person's spreading rumors. Like, you should really confront them. And you say, I've already confronted them once and they keep denying. Well, then you need to just confront them. You need to be a bully. In that instance, you need to push them. You need to, that's not an instance where you necessarily want to mirror back to them. You don't want to just spread rumors about them too. That's just going to make the situation way more chaotic. But that's an instance where you want to be direct with them because they're being indirect, right? So if they're spreading rumors around you, clearly they have an issue about you, and that's affecting you in a negative way. So they're being indirect. So what do? You be direct with them. And it's like a mirror. Like a mirror always reflects the letters backwards. That's exactly what you do. So if they're being indirect with you by spreading rumors about you, well, you just need to be direct with them. Mirror back to them their own stuff. Now, that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't mean spreading rumors, but that just means calling them out, being direct with them, saying, hey, why are you spreading rumors about me? What's the real issue that's going on here? What's the real problem? I hope that makes sense. I wish I could come up with a better example. Guys, if you have a better example of a mirror technique, please bring it up and I'll use it. Honestly, the bully technique is the best example, though. If someone's bullying you and you've been transparent, nice and kind and open, and that hasn't worked, well, and you don't want them to bully you anymore, well, then it's simple. Bully them right back. Push them away. Not okay. assert those boundaries. Sometimes we need to be strict with people. All right, cool. So Anna says, so narcissists say you are exaggerating. How to handle that? Okay, well, it doesn't matter what the narcissists think, Anna. If someone's a narcissist and they're saying that, oh, you're just being oversensitive, you're just over exaggerating, say, well, I don't care. I'm going to be over exaggerating then because this means a lot to me. Okay? Narcissists will always deflect. Narcissists will always say, oh, you're just over exaggerating. You're being too sensitive. Just chill out. They'll always say that. They'll try to take you out of yourself. But you can just say, no, actually, what I'm feeling is completely valid and you're not respecting it. And I really don't like the fact that you're respecting it. So goodbye. You can leave my life. Have a good day. That's simple. End game, end story. Right? So Sam Marina says, sounds like mirroring takes confidence and a sure sense of self. Absolutely. But here's the great thing about it. Once you realize that someone is coming at you in that manner, game over. All you have to do is realize it. Like look within. If it makes you feel angry, if it makes you feel resentful towards that other person, whatever they're doing to you, then that's when you need to step up your game. That's when you know, okay, you know what? I need to call this person out. I need to mirror back to them. I need to do something. Because guys, if you're being angry or resentful towards someone, it's because they're not treating you how you want to be treated. You may not consciously know that, but emotionally, if you're feeling angry and resentful towards someone, it's because you're not being treated the way that you want to be treated. And that needs to be expressed and vocalized. And if it's not, the anger and the resentment is only going to raise up higher and higher. All right, what other questions do we got? Anna says, I love that mirror explanation, but where's forgiveness in that then? I mean, if I attack how I can forgive and let it go, I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood it. So here's the thing, guys. You don't have to forgive other people. Forgiveness is a good thing, all right? But that's a later stage, okay? First, we got to deal with the situation at hand. Forgiveness can come later on, all right? Forgiveness comes later on. However, if a person's bullying you, you're not thinking about forgiveness, are you? You're just focused on, this person's bullying me. I don't want them to bully anymore. I'm fucking pissed. How do I get them to not bully me anymore? If you're already focused on forgiveness, you're way ahead of yourself. Slow down, okay? So mirror, and then once the bully learns that he shouldn't be doing that, then that's when the forgiveness piece can come in. So for instance, he says, he's bullying you. Let's say he punches you or beats you up all the time, all right? And then you start doing it back and you say, no, I'm upset, I'm angry, that's not okay. And you push back and you do that back to him. What happens? Then then he says, oh, shoot, maybe I shouldn't hurt this person. Oh, man, I shouldn't act that way towards that person. Hey, man, I'm really sorry for treating you that way. It's okay. I forgive you. That's all I really wanted. I wanted you to stop and I wanted an apology. End of story. So, Anna, forgiveness comes later. The mirror technique comes first, though, okay? Then forgiveness comes after that. I hope that makes sense. Good. I'm glad that could help. So Anna Dillon says, it should start with us like ourselves. First mirror for protection, then work on the consequences of any of that, which that might do. Anna, that's great. That's exactly what it is, because it's about yourself. When a person's coming at you and they're bullying you and stuff like that, it's about yourself at that point, So you got to protect yourself, and you got to be there for your own being, right? And so what happens is you mirror back that action. And then if it gets nastier and nastier, then that's okay. You just deal with it, but you stick up for yourself. And eventually it may come to a point of forgiveness. Other times it may come to a point where there is no forgiveness. With my narcissist friend, he never apologized. He tried to come back into my life about a year later after I cut all ties with him, and I was open to it at the time. I said, yeah, but we need to clear the space and you need to own up to some things. Are you willing to own up to these things? And I looked at him, and he wasn't willing to own up to it. And I said, hit the road, man. I wish you the best, but nope, not okay. And I have no problem with that. I have no issues around it anymore. Don't think about him. Don't see him. Don't talk to him. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't happen, guys, and it's okay. And that's scary because we want forgiveness, and forgiveness is good and it's an ideal, but sometimes forgiveness won't happen because that other person, sometimes They just won't admit that they did something wrong, or they can't see that they did something wrong. You know, narcissists and sociopaths have trouble understanding or realizing that they did anything wrong. They just do, okay? Life is messy. It gets real messy. I like Beth's question about it being a boss or a teacher. So Kestra, I'll get back to that. Kestra says, what's your advice after learning the lessons about pushing back, setting boundaries, and doing that in your present life with others? But now you're still pissed off about something from the past. Okay, yeah, I think that's a great question. So if you're drawing those boundaries and you're still upset and angry and you want to make peace with that, that's when you need to work with like a therapist or a coach or someone who's going to help you out. Okay, that's going to help you out in that world. Because we can lay down those boundaries in that anger and say, nope, you can't go there. That's not okay. And you might still be lacking that internal peace within, right? So if that comes up for you and you still feel like you haven't found that peace, then know that that's just something that's going to take time. You know, you need to work on that with yourself and work it out with another person. That's why they have things called drama roles, right? So a person pretends to be another person and you just speak to them and you unload. That's where a therapist or a coach comes in. So if you're having those issues, feel free to reach out to me and we'll go in and do some of that work. Awesome. Great questions, guys. Thank you so much. Ren says, I give people a lot of chances and am not known for cutting back people out of my life, even if they are extremely cruel to me. I come back again and again. How do I not? How do I know when is quits? Yeah, that's a great question, Ren. It comes down to pain. How much pain are you willing to accept on the behalf of other people? How much pain are you willing to accept for yourself? How much pain are you willing to inflict upon yourself through letting other people inflict pain upon you? It's a pain. Eventually you get to a point of so much pain where you realize you can't live that way anymore. It's like a drug addict. You know, a drug addict comes to a point where they're like, if they come to this point, they say, there's so much pain here. There's so much pain. I've wrecked my life. I can't do this anymore. I need to put my life back together. I need to take new action. So that's all it comes down to, Ren. When are you willing? When are you willing to make the decision? No, it's not okay. People can't treat me like this. This isn't okay. I'm not going to do this anymore. That's that determination, or that's not the right word. And commitment isn't the right word. Resolve. There we go. Resolve. That's a great word. Resolve. Well, I can't write it down on the board, but resolve. You resolve your problems. You resolve your issues. If people are coming at you and they're not treating you right, then you need to get resolute. Okay, not okay. Can't treat me like that. I'm going to solve all my problems. I'm going to resolve all the problems that are coming up in my life. I'm going to be resolute. You can't do that. Not okay. You lay down that boundary. Beautiful. What else do we got here, guys? Guys, I got about time for 2 more questions. And guys, please, if this information is helping you out, please share it with any family or friends. I'm really excited about getting this information out there in the world. And guys, I do live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I know today's Tuesday. I had to switch things around, but I'm going to be consistent about that. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m., I'm going to get into these live streams. So be looking forward to learning more stuff and getting deep and diving deep into it. Hey, Mary, thanks for joining. Mary says, what if you have a fear of people disliking you or drama? Yeah, I totally understand that, Mary. I have that same issue at times, not too much anymore, but it was definitely out there. It's called people pleasing, right? You want to people please. And it's normal. It's normal. As humans, we want to be liked. We want to feel like we're a part of the tribe. We want to feel like we're connected. However, sometimes we get to a point where we sacrifice who we truly are to feel like we're connected to other individuals, and that's not good. That's where we sacrifice ourselves to be liked, and that's called people pleasing. And people pleasing, that's pain. You're creating pain within yourself. When you're not being authentic and honest and real with yourself, you create pain for other individuals. You create pain for yourself. So if you feel like you're worried about creating drama or rocking the boat, guys, don't be afraid of conflict, okay? All right, that's the next video, guys. We're going to get into that in the next video. Conflict, all right? People get afraid of conflict all the time because they fear that they're going to lose the relationship or lose the connection if there's conflict. Guys, don't be afraid of conflict. Conflict is a natural and normal part of life, okay? It's a completely natural, normal part of life. Part of learning to be in your own power is being okay with conflict. I have to remind myself of this of all times. It's okay to be in conflict. It's a part of the game. Conflict is a part of the game. Conflict isn't bad. It's a natural part of life. We have to be open. We have to be honest, but we have to be real with ourselves. And sometimes when we're real with other people, they might not like it. So learning to be okay with conflict is a really important thing that we need to learn if we want to overcome the people-pleasing epidemic. All right. So learning to be okay with conflict will put you back in your power, and you'll feel more confident when you can deal with conflict and handle with it in a manageable way. Okay. So if you're having issues around that, the best thing you can do is make a pact with yourself. Commit to yourself and say, you know what? I'm going to be okay with conflict because I'm not going to be in conflict within myself. See, that's what happens, guys. That's brilliant. Well, I'm going to pat myself on the back for saying that. We'd rather be in conflict within ourselves than as opposed to being in conflict within the world. But here's the thing: if you're you see these people who are peacemakers, they're always walking on glass. They don't want to rock the boat in any way. They're the most inner turmoil people ever. I see them all the time. They're afraid of conflict in the external world. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to tip things over. And so what happens is they take all that internal conflict and it shows up as anxiety and stress, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. It gets crazy. It shows up as all these deep internal issues. I had that same problem for years because I grew up in a home where a lot of times there was abuse, physical and emotional abuse. So I didn't want to rock the boat. I got really scared to be a conflicting person. Conflict is a normal, natural part of life. Don't be afraid to go into conflict, okay? Beautiful. All right, so what other questions do we got here? Anna says, Jared, can you please answer Beth's question about professor or boss? She has problem with him saying her education/job is in hands, something like that. Hey, Beth, you're going to have to ask that question again because there's like a long list of comments here and I can't really see it. So if you could just ask that question, I'll answer it for you, and we can go into that a little bit more. So, guys, remember, don't be afraid of conflict, okay? A lot of us like being a window, especially we're sensitive. We're like, oh, I don't want to go down I don't want to be in conflict. It makes me scared. It makes me worried. So we're just like, okay, we're just going to be transparent. We're going to be open. We're going to be spiritual, and we're just going to take it on. There's nothing spiritual about just getting, people shoveling shit over you. Okay. There's nothing spiritual about that. Stand up for yourself. All right. So the mirror approach, that's more the conflicting approach, right? That's the approach that we want to take when people are pushing themselves and their agendas up against us, and not be afraid of that. So Eve says, how do you push back and mirror authority figures? Hey, that's a great question, Eve. That's a real tough and tricky issue. A lot of people, okay, and here's the great thing. If people are pushing you around, guess what they respect? They respect people who push them around. So if a person pushes you around and that's the only way that they know how to interact with the world or relate to the world, then guess what? Push them right back and they'll respect you. They'll actually respect you more. They might give you a raise. I know that's counterintuitive. So if you have an authority figure who's pushing you or bullying you and you just get small and then you finally stand up for yourself, you know what they might say? They might say, oh, snap, this person's not fucking around anymore. Okay, all right, I like it. My narcissist friend, that's exactly what he did. When I started stepping up to him, I started pushing him and saying, no, fuck off, you can't do that. He respected me way more. That was a really good lesson for me to learn. I realized, wow, people actually respect you when you push up against them and you say, not okay, not okay. So when it comes to authority figures, realize that if the authority figure is bullying you or pushing you down, they respect people who bully. So what do? You mirror them. You send it right back to them. Now they might get pissed off and they could fire you. That's a possibility. So you got to be careful and tactful with it. You got to be tactful. It's all about tact here, guys. Okay. Beautiful. Beth says, trying to stand up for myself got me a bad grade in class, and now I can't continue. I'm only 2 classes away from graduating, and now may have to go to another school and start over. Yeah, I can understand that, Beth. I've been there before. So sometimes life doesn't work out the way that we want it to, Beth. It's a hard reality. It's a hard answer. I know that's not what you want to hear, but sometimes we stick up for ourselves and it doesn't go in our favor, and we have to be willing for it, And if you have to take the longer road, but you stuck up for yourself, at least you have the pride within your own being that you said, you know what? I stuck up for myself. I did the right thing for me. At the end of the day, that's what's most important to me, is knowing that even if the outcome didn't happen the way that I wanted it to happen, I know that I stayed true to myself, and I feel proud about that fact. So if you do have to switch schools and it gets to be a little bit of a hassle, totally understand it. I've had to switch schools 3 times. I've totally been there. Okay. Taking the long road, but you will have more pride in yourself. You will be more confident in yourself. And honestly, learning that behavior to stand up for yourself when you know you deserve to be stood up for, that's going to take you much further in life than following like a sheep or playing small or getting small. It's going to take you a lot further. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I got time for one more question. And then we'll be done for the day. What other questions do you got for me here? I hope this is making sense, guys. So just to recap, we'll go into a little bit of review. There's times where we need to be a window. We need to be transparent and be open. If someone in our life is closed off, that's when we need to be open and transparent. However, if they're trying to bully you or manipulate you or something like that, and you're feeling that pressure, that's a time where you need to mirror back to them their own behavior and say, hey, not okay. First, address it and approach it and say, hey, I'm feeling like you're manipulating me, or I'm feeling like you're coming at me this way. Why are you doing this? I don't understand. And then if they don't go along with that, then you mirror back their own technique back to them. So they get us a little bit of their own sauce that they put out there. And that's not being wrong. That's called learning. That's called learning how to manage life in a way that means sticking up for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. If a bully punches you, right? So Christ said, if you get slapped across the face, turn the other cheek, right? I love Christ. I think he was an amazing being. But at the end of the day, he was crucified on a cross and died a horrible death in front of his family. I don't want to die that way. I have no intention of dying on a cross or anything crazy like that, or going out or getting beat up, right? So there are times where you need to be a window and be open and transparent, loving and compassion, and holding that space. However, if someone is beating you up, there are times where you need to stick up for yourself and say, hey, not okay, you can't do that, right? It's about learning which one to take. Awesome. All right. Good night, Beth. Thanks for joining. All right, guys, that's all I got. Oh, okay. We got one more request here. Mary says, how do you know if you've done something wrong or if they did something wrong? Great question, Mary. I'm going to tell you this. Right and wrong are completely irrelevant. They're not real at all. There's no such thing as right. There's no such thing as wrong. There's just life. There's just what happens and what doesn't. Guys, our mind spends so much energy on thinking, was I right or was I wrong, or was that person right or was that person wrong? Guys, there's no right or there's no wrong. In the eyes of God, it's just life, okay? And so the more you align with, the more you come into an alignment with the divine plan, you start to realize that there's no right or wrong, and you start to be okay with that. I made a YouTube video on this back a while ago, which I called Fuck Morality. And that's because morality tries to put people in boxes in right or wrong because they need to be. But however, once you get to a point where you really learn to think for yourself, which is a real power, when you really learn to be able to think for yourself, right and wrong goes out the window. It's not about being right or wrong. It's just about what's right for you. What's right for you? What do you think is right? It's about integrating multiple perspectives. There's times where I can understand a person and I'm like, yeah, this person's right for their perspective, but they're not right for me. And I get it. I can say, hey, look, I totally understand where you're coming from. I totally get it 100%. I just don't agree with you. And that's okay. It's okay to be in that space. It's perfectly okay and healthy to be in that space where you don't know if you're right or wrong. Totally fine, totally normal. Get comfortable with it. That's what I would say. Learn to be comfortable with not knowing if you're right or wrong, because at the end of the day, it's just life happening. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Hey, yeah, Lenimus, that's great. Lenimus says she's not sure if she agrees with that. Cool. I don't agree with you. And I'm perfectly okay with that. Think about that. That's something that you want to think about, you know? Anna, thanks for joining. Beth, thanks for joining. Lenimus, thanks for joining. I really appreciate your guys' time and attention. It means a lot to me. I really love doing this. This work is really important. Please, if you have family or friends, share it with them if you think it's valuable. I know it's incredibly valuable. This is stuff that I wish I had had my entire life, but no one was out there explaining it to me, and that's why I do it. So, guys, I will see you all soon. Once again, I'll do a live stream tomorrow, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I look forward to seeing you guys all there. My normal schedule is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, guys, wishing you all the best, sending you all the best. I'll see you all soon. Peace. Oh, no, it's still streaming. I'm still on. Woo!